Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the First Four or More. It's your boy HSR.
It's your lady friend Bonnie.
What's up, it's Syd.
And
You're so cool.
so yeah, we are back with the one where we talk about TV shows. And before we jump into that, a little bit of housekeeping. We are doing the Grand to 1,000 subscribers contest. So if you proceed to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave a comment below about the show, about our review, something to engage a conversation. You enter into a raffle where first prize will be $100 of U.S. Amazon gift money. Plus, you get to request a review of a show, a movie, an album, whatever.
Right there.
No.
I was ready.
Too soon.
Second place is $50 plus the review. Third place is $25 plus the review. And if we can achieve our lovely goal of 1,000 subscribers before February 20th,
You can make it happen.
there will be 2 additional $25 is given out to the fine folks out there who have subscribed, liked, and commented. And for every additional video that you comment on, that you like, you get an extra entry into the raffle. I'm cleaning all that up into an Excel file so it looks, like usable. And then we're going to use a random number generator to pick the people, so it's all fair and good.
People pickers.
And
Basically, we're going broke and tired for you.
Hells yeah.
Yay!
And basically, so you feel free to help us out like that, and then we'll help you out, or the 3 to 5 of you who end up winning some prizes. And then after that, we'll see what happens. But on that note, we should get into the show. And before we do, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Hashtag spoilers.
Yeah, we're going to tell you all about it.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
As you
Also,
can
this
see,
is episode 3, so
of which show?
of end
Of
of
the
the
fucking
effing
world.
world.
Yeah,
See
the
how I
fucking
censor
world.
things?
So if you do care about it, episode 1 is going to appear up here, and wait for it. Episode 2 is going to appear right about there. So you can kind of like go through it in order with us, or if you don't care, you want to just jump in here and watch along. We're basically going to break down the plot and proceed to comment on it. These episodes don't have titles, by the way. I looked into it.
They don't?
No, they don't.
Okay, they're just like 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4.
it's like the end of the fucking world, season 1, episode 1. I mean, I might be wrong. If you guys saw titles, let me know. But I'm pretty sure just the thing, even credited as such, at least in the one review site and putting down in the comment box for SEO value. That's right.
That's really cool because, Netflix has kind of pioneered this binging format, right? Where every episode picks off right where the last episode ends, and it's like a long movie.
Yeah.
So you really get a sense of scope and of story and of magnitude. I really like that.
Yeah.
That's true.
This is really cool. I really like this show.
It's a good show.
It starts off, and we see a floor.
Spoilers, it's a good show.
And the music is building, and there's some blood, and then like the title screen pulls up, and then silence. And if you're with us for the first time, it's based off a graphic novel, and we decided it feels like a comic book as it plays out.
We decided that.
on the podcast, that's how we felt.
Yeah.
Is what we're saying.
Yeah.
We have put our foot down. This feels like a comic book.
Anyway.
Therefore, it shall be.
So then it was like silence. At least the subtitle said silence, and it went black. And then we see James and Alyssa in bed, picking up from the last episode.
And it's like an uncomfortableness that's happening with James.
And he thinks back quickly on his mom.
Yeah.
There he's like cuddling back on that scene on a swing again. And then he gets like super uncomfortable from my perception, and he tries to like pull Alyssa's arm off her, but she like resists, but like now she's like awake. And she's thinking again about how she could love him, but then points out how sometimes he feels like a complete stranger.
Yeah, like sometimes I think I could love this guy, sometimes he's just off somewhere and I don't get it.
And I feel like that's like a normal thought, like when you're first like meeting a guy, or like, you just think about it and you're like, wow, I could hate him or I could love him. I'm not so sure yet.
Yeah, and I like how the beginning of the episode, there's like a lot of her thoughts.
Yeah.
Like it tends to go back and forth between the two of them, but like it's a long stretch of just her before he finally comes in and his weird shit happens.
Yep.
And then they like kind of like head out to the checkout.
Yeah.
And Alyssa is kind of like paying, and she's like $30 more for a late fee. And Alyssa just like pulls it out straight baller like.
A lot of cash.
And then she's like, it's got a lot of cash. And then she's like, yeah, we just robbed a bank. And then they like walk out. And I don't know, unless you have more to comment on that.
I just thought it was funny because the front desk lady said, "Oh, it's going to be an extra $30," and then you see her pocketing part of the money, and then putting the rest in the cash. So that extra $30 just went right in her pocket. So I thought that was funny.
There's a lot of little moments like that where like
I didn't
they'll
even
do
notice
something and then they'll
Yeah.
say something and there'll be another like kind of what's the word? Like it's a little bit of a foreshadow, but it's an immediate foreshadow.
Yeah. It's just funny. It's just,
Yeah.
that everybody's like sneaky and liars and
Yeah, the adults in this show just suck.
Yeah.
In general, like they
Yep.
all just suck.
Oh, we will, I suppose,
Yeah.
really get into that today.
Yeah, but like even up until this point, they're all just the fucking worst.
Not
Yep.
his dad. Well, his dad's
But
the
even his
fucking
dad's-
worst
his-
for being nice.
His dad's just way too nice, right? Like
Yeah.
he's a doofus, kind of.
But he's so kind.
He's so kind, but he's such a doofus.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But still, I can't say he's a bad person.
You're right. He's like the one redeemable character.
Now, to be fair, we might find out some shit later. Oh, we're up to episode 4 in what we've watched up to this point. The last time it had been 2.
no,
so...
we're up to episode 3, and then we're gonna go watch episode
Nah,
4
man.
after this, right?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay.
I'm just being real. So that's how far we got. So if something gets spoiled where the dad turns out to be like a psychotic killer asshole type or something, well, we
Maybe,
don't know that
maybe.
yet.
I can't believe you just spoiled the next episode.
Snack. So anyway, then they're like walking, and James is kind of like, "Should we take a train to see your dad?" And Alyssa starts like tripping out. What if he doesn't love me? But she's all saying it in her head, and James just kind of like repeats himself.
she's like, what if she doesn't even recognize me? You know?
And then Alyssa kind of like flows into some. We should go off the grid and like hide out for a couple of days, and like
This is where she's like, "Why are you so obsessed with my dad?" Right?
yeah, that's what he said.
Well, I really liked how, like, you get the sense you've already gotten the sense that he's just kind of following along with whatever she wants to do, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's really erratic. She has no idea what she's doing. She's changing her mind every 5 seconds. So she's like, at the end of the last episode, she's like, let's go see my dad. We're going to go see my dad. And so him just kind of following along, like, all right, we're going to see your dad. When are we going to see your dad? And she's like, stop thinking about my dad. I don't want to talk about my dad. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We find out the full extent of how oblivious this man really can be in this episode, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. That's kind of what happens. And then they find a really nice place. They just kind of like stumble into some backyard.
Yep.
There's nobody home.
And they like kind of like, she does some little checks, like, oh, there's no dust. You see the little fucking newspapers and shit. And then picks up a rock and like decides to break in. And he's like, is breaking and entering the best way of lying low? And
Yep.
then she like, yep, and you hear a smash, and then the next thing you know, they're inside.
Which is just hilarious, right? Because, like, he's here to kill someone, but he takes issue with, like, breaking and entering.
Yeah. It's like, I think he is a good guy, but
He's a good dude.
yeah.
Sort of.
He's kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
In a weird way.
they find out it's a really nice place, and guy's an author, a bit of a narcissist with lots of copies of his books. There's this picture of him. Alyssa, I didn't write down like everything that happened in the scene, but Alyssa like puts her gum on the mustache. Alyssa finds some booze, starts chugging it. He's
Yeah.
kind of questioning her lack of respect in general, and she's just kind of questioning if she should become an alcoholic.
Right.
Yeah.
And then starts chugging and handing
It always
the
gives you
bottle.
something to do. And I was like, well, that's an interesting idea, but
Well, I mean, if you think about her mom,
Is this, did they make food already?
not yet.
No.
They're about to make
Okay.
food. But first, they proceed to explore the bedroom. She's like, we can chill in here and take her time, trying to find out what adults do. And, she's trying to figure out. Then
Right.
they go down and make food and get a glass of wine. They
He
proceed,
makes food.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
proceed to
Yeah.
eat. And they're like by the pool. She gives him like this super genuine compliment for like one of the first times. Like I guess she's changing her approach on how to get him to like open up to her, or she's drunk. I'm not really sure.
That's true.
I just thought of the drunk part now. But we kind of we flash back to like she asked him how to cook, and he kind of flashes back to like shit his dad eats.
Well, no,
like-
because what he says was, I had to learn to cook. And then it flashes back.
Yeah.
like otherwise I'd get like type 2 diabetes
Yeah.
or
it's that
something.
or type 2 diabetes. Was all I think what he's thinking still when he's saying that. He's not actually saying it. He's just like, I had to teach myself, and in his
Yeah.
head he says the rest of
Yeah,
it.
because it's the
I
voiceover
just,
of his
like-
dad eating, like, chocolate cake.
And
And
pizza.
then like pizza
Yeah.
and just like pure.
And
just
remember-
the little
he's
kid
the-
version of him just like,
And he's the one that got the deep fryer, right?
Yeah.
So
true.
That is
true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I did too.
Hey, universe building.
Hey, as Chris would say.
Yep.
Then she
Hashtag we miss Chris.
yeah. Then she drops the plates into the pool after making some like comment about how like
But she's just like, we have to clean up, and then she picks up.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And then she puts on this record and starts dancing. And
Hank Williams, I believe.
Super like.
I don't know what song it
Ridiculous
was,
dancing.
but I did want to comment.
It wasn't that ridiculous. I dance like that.
Well,
I
don't know.
All right.
So what I have to say is that it wasn't so much ridiculous, but that she looked really like in her zone, really comfortable. Like she didn't have a care in the world in the way she was dancing. It
No.
wasn't about being good. It was about feeling the music and having a good time. And it's that.
And she says that, right? She's like,
Yeah.
I feel comfortable when I'm dancing,
Yeah.
not when I'm talking, because when I'm talking, I say things that I want to take back.
That's
true.
exactly it.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
asked if they want to dance naked. Now I just want
And
to
then
comment.
she goes things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to comment on the choice of song, the music throughout this. If you actually listen to the
Yeah.
lyrics of each song, it kind of is a reflection of what is happening in the scene. So this song is about two people falling in love,
Okay.
playing out in this
And they're both weird.
overly cliche scene. If you really think about this scene of them, but it's uncharacteristic for them to have this moment,
Right.
and then they still have their weirdness and the
And it's
stream of
especially
consciousness.
uncharacteristic for him because he gets up and starts dancing and being ridiculous.
And he's like,
right?
as a rule,
Yeah.
like I never
Yeah.
dance, and then he dances.
And then she's like, listen, close your eyes. I'll close my eyes. We won't look at each other. And then they start dancing, but of course she
and he like really starts,
and
dancing.
then, she starts spinning him and shit. And then obviously, she's watching. She thinks he is properly beautiful. Then she spins him and stops him. Then she kisses him. And this is where it's interesting. He kisses her back.
yeah, for the first time.
Yeah. And then she sits him down, orders him, because she's like in his head, like realizing he's never going to make a move on me. So she orders him to undo his belt. And then she comments on his lack of sex obsession and hopes that she gives a good head. And then
She doesn't say that. She's like thinking that.
No, but she's
She's-
thinking,
I hope I'm good at this.
yeah, and then proceeds to perform fellatio on the young sir. And at first, he's kind of like okay with it, but she like,
No, I think at first he's realizing he's like okay with it. Like he's like enjoying it.
and
But
then,
then-
but she asked if he's okay,
Like my favorite part of the episode.
and then she continues, and he seems to be like, really into it. He then he makes her stop.
He has a little bit of a panic attack, and then he's like looking at the picture across the room that she stuck her gum on, and he's just like, that thing turned me off.
And then
Yep.
she freaks out like, I thought you wanted me. And he's like, I did. Like his thoughts are for once fully in line with like what he's feeling here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
she's
it's like I did.
and then fuck you, and she runs off, like just leaves. And then that is an amazing scene that does so much for the character development of these two people,
Yeah.
while being hilarious, while being cute, and while still having the creepy vibe the rest of the show has.
Yeah, like still being kind of uncomfortable and gross, but also hilarious and cute, and I'm into it.
Yeah. Not like the kids part, but the rest of it.
The rest
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. So James tended not to feel a thing for a really long time, and he was really good at it. He remembers convincing himself that I remember though, like when I was younger, I had actually like looked up some of that sociopathic shit myself to
Okay.
see the personality. Because when you go through some hard times, it's easier to not feel. And then when you're not feeling, you start wondering, am I crazy? Or am I a sociopath? Am I a bad,
Mhm.
And so I was kind of like, you know what? That was kind of relatable. That's all I wanted to say. And then some, he goes to grab some flowers. He puts them in this like makeshift vase. And then, I didn't catch it the first time, but if you really look at this closet,
Yeah.
it's full of duct tape, it's full of bleach, it's full of all sorts of stuff that you
And
would-
like paper
Okay.
towel. You didn't notice?
Yeah,
No, I
yeah,
didn't
no.
notice.
Ah.
But it's like neatly stacked. Like we're
like
talking
rolls of duct tape.
Yeah.
Like 4 bottles of bleach.
That's fucking creepy.
Yeah, like rolls of like industrial type like paper towel.
Yep. So it's,
So there's something at the end that you guys are gonna have to explain to me too.
well, okay.
Okay,
So yeah,
we'll do it.
but basically, I wrote in my notes here, danger signs. But I really didn't catch it my first episode. But in the second time, they really hold the camera
It
over
does.
that
It
for
definitely
like
like
a
stays
long enough
open.
period of time. But it's not obvious what's happening until you really, because you're not really thinking like what's on the shelves.
But then
You're
you're-
thinking of
you're
the relationship between these two, and she
Yeah.
ran off.
When
and,
I
yeah.
first saw it, I saw it all. I was like, "There's a lot of bleach," and then I was like, "Oh, duct tape."
Yeah.
And I was like, "There's
To be
something
fair-
up here." And then I thought it would be more of like stuff that he would use, like for his like murder plots or whatever.
Okay.
Like I kind of thought it would be like something that he would kind of see and then come back to. Like he would come back to the closet, but he never
But
did.
the show
You know,
took
so
you by
yeah,
surprise.
I
Whoa.
I didn't notice
Exactly.
it on my first watch, but then we cut to Alyssa, was basically just being mopey.
She stormed out, and so she's wandering down the street.
She's kind of musing why she does weird shit. She stares at a bird.
Dead, like a dead bird.
She thought like her and James were gonna be like the Cure, like they were finally doing all the weird shit, and it shouldn't end up kind of. I guess what she's really feeling is, I wanted to fuck him, you didn't want to fuck me, but she doesn't know how to manifest that emotion properly, and she thought James was gonna be like the magic answer, but you know, James is James, as we've come to see.
Yep.
Then some guy comes around.
Topher.
He starts asking her age, and his name's Topher, and it's short for, wait for it,
Christopher.
And why is he going by Topher and not Chris? Why is he? Because he's a twat. And I guess
the question that she asks.
And then he responds with like,
he's
I'm a twat. And then I guess that bad boy whatever turned her on in the moment, and she jumps his bones. And
well, I mean, you know.
There's
a conversation.
Yeah.
They lead to it.
Well,
He's
she
not
kisses him like almost immediately after he says, "I'm a twat." Like immediately after he goes, "I'm a twat," she goes right up and kisses him.
Well, she says, "Do you have a girlfriend?" No.
Oh,
Do you
you're
have a
right.
boyfriend?
You're
No.
so correct. But I would say that for all terms and purposes, it's
pretty quick.
Thank
you can tell this is a revenge fuck. Like,
yeah.
Before she's even had a fuck, she wants a
But
revenge
I do like
fuck.
how she asked about the girlfriend and the boyfriend, and she's being very respectful of everything.
Her like loud, obnoxious.
And then he has like this weirded out look at the boyfriend question, like, "What's wrong with you?"
I ask everybody that.
And then,
I'm like, it's like so
no,
modern.
It's 2018.
I'm like,
You
so I'm like, do you have a boyfriend?
What are your
Oh,
pronouns?
no. Do you have a
Tell me.
girlfriend?
Oh no, but she actually kisses him before the question, and then
she kisses him
And then
first,
she
and then
asks-
she
and then she
asks
kisses
the
him
question.
so like I
again.
said, jumps his
You're
bones
both
right
right.
over.
You're
Boom.
both right.
And then she comes.
And we're back.
Then they go back to the house. She comes in with him, and you can see James with his flowers, eagerly ready. And then she just walks in with this guy. James, this is Topher. We're gonna have
go fuck.
sex.
Yeah.
And then James is realizing how Alyssa is making her feel things, and he wasn't down for that, and puts her jacket up.
Yeah.
And then Topher is upstairs in this creepy-looking bedroom, and he's kind of like, "Yo, am I gonna get filmed? Like this is some catch a pedo shit." And then it cuts to James.
Because she shows him. This is important. She shows him her ID.
Yeah.
And to clearly prove that she's 17.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, which is completely legal in the Britain for the U.S. people out there. In
16.
Woo!
You're
Where it's illegal, so this
Yeah.
makes sense for them. And in Canada.
17 is legal in some states.
Yeah, and 16 in others, and I think 1 is even lower, but there's 1.
You can get married in some
probably
states
like-
when you're like 12 or 13 if your parents
Probably
marry you
like a
off, it's
southern
legal.
type
Yeah,
of
that's
a state.
there's a lot of expose stuff. It's very
The
prevalent
United
here.
States are weirded backwards.
Don't worry,
Okay.
Canada follows suit in that exact topic.
Canada is weirded backwards. The first world is fucked up.
Yeah, that's
Anyway, let's get back to this. So
We're a shithole country, Kate.
let's not go that far. So it cuts back to James then after that room scene, and he like Alyssa is throwing in a curveball. He grabs a knife, he puts it in his like boot thing, and he starts looking around to find out what the author dude's up to. You know, just because he's bored, and this girl that he wants to fuck is now fucking, or in his mind at least.
Yeah. Well,
And
I think
then-
that like he can hear them like laughing and stuff like
Yeah,
upstairs.
all you can hear is this excessive amount of laughing. It was almost an obnoxious amount of laughing is how I felt. Before I went out, I felt that. Then he comes across these Polaroids of women's in various states of abuse, bound and beaten, and then he opens up a camcorder and starts watching things, realizing what kind of...
He's like, oh shit.
Okay, good. See, I missed this part too. See, my cat was being cute.
And that's fair.
I know that.
You
yeah.
know?
So basically, he stares at this for a couple seconds, and you can only imagine this gentleman, author person, is filming the forced entry and torture of his victims as he bounds them and such.
So now that I know where these photos come from, because I didn't realize where they came from later.
Okay.
That was what I was gonna ask.
That's the next one.
This is cool because this is also, I don't know if this is done on purpose or if this graphic novel was written before Dexter, but that's another plot point in a season of Dexter, right? In the 5th season of
Interesting.
Dexter, they kidnap women and film the rape, torture, and eventual murder of these women. And
Or maybe just something crazy people do.
I hope not.
I don't think it's exclusive to like
Yeah.
Dexter or this. It's definitely like this idea is in
Yeah.
multiple forms of
Yeah.
stuff.
It's
but
sort
I mean,
of like-
I'm just noticing a lot of little, like, there's
Or
a few I haven't mentioned too, right? But
maybe like what it really says is when it comes down to it, the pinnacle of this style of thing is just that, and it's going
Is
to
that they
always be
want to have
perceived.
some sort of like a trophy.
Like there's nothing worse than that in this regard. So like when you write about it, it has to be done. You either fuck it up entirely, but when it's done right and it hits home right, it's interesting.
Right. But there's another thing too, and I'll bring it back up a little bit more later. But
Okay.
when you have moral ambiguity in characters like this, you have to paint the bad guys as bad guys, right? Like they have to come off as the villain versus the morally ambiguous protagonists who aren't necessarily good people. Their motivations aren't necessarily the most virtuous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yep.
So then we cut back to Topher making out with Alyssa. He's like, "You're cool. You're really fucking cool." I've been
She's
that
just
lame.
like, I know.
And I just thought like, you look lame. I remember having been that dorky in the past and not smart moves. Anyway, she realizes she is no longer feeling this. Fucking James, you shouldn't have said that shit. And then she goes, "Thanks, James," and kicks him off. And she's no longer into it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
she
she's
thinks
thinking it.
yeah, thanks, James. And then kicks him off. She's no longer into it. He's like, "Are you kidding me?" She's like, "Nope." And then he's like, "It's not fair." She's like, "It is fair."
He's like, "You're so cool," and she's
I
like,
think
"If
you're
I'm so
amazing.
cool, why don't you?" Yeah.
"Well, then respect me changing my mind and fuck off, please."
Yep.
And I was like, this show handles consent really fucking well, I guess. Like, this is the second clear consent point that's been made here, and I thought that was cool.
And
Take
of course,
notes, fellas.
and of course, the guy just storms off and all,
There's a word for people like
blue
you.
balls.
Yeah, this is not how you do.
And I
Consent
felt
is important.
I mean,
Consent is important.
you're allowed to feel a little upset in the moment. You just can't force a person to do anything. I feel like his negotiation tactics in the moment did not cross the line, and when she made it explicitly clear he went too far, he immediately backed off and took the lesson.
Consent is
So,
important.
yeah, he handled it decently. Then Topher walks out, and he's like, "She's a fucking prick tease bitch," is the exact words he uses.
And James
And
is
then
like,
he can kind of
Oh,
see he's
yeah,
pleased with
okay.
that. Like, he's like, "Okay, I'll tell her that." And then he knocks on the door, and she's like, "Go away." She's like, "It seems like sex can go from something you want to do into a punishment really fucking quickly."
mm-hmm.
I was like, "Ooh, I don't think I've ever like heard it so eloquently put in a perspective. I've never really that's one of those moments where it makes you stop and really take a think about."
It's the inner thoughts of women.
Hashtag teenage wisdom is still wisdom.
Right?
Yeah, so that happens, and then
So he basically just waits outside of the bedroom
until she
and
falls asleep.
he's reading the author's book,
Yep.
the author who lives there.
But he knows
it's
what he's
called,
done too,
Existential Evil, I believe is the name of the book.
or something along those lines. But you got to keep in mind, he now knows what this guy does, and he's
Right.
reading his book because
Yeah.
he's got his weird, twisted idolization of people that we've seen from the past episode. And then he goes into the room, and he's looking at her almost menacingly, I guess he's gonna go for it. And then he starts feeling super emotional and goes, "When her eyes are closed, Alyssa looks a lot less angry." And then all the malice in his face drops, and he
Yeah.
lies down on the floor next to her,
And he almost grabs her hand.
Because it's hanging off of the bed.
Yeah.
And it's very sweet. It's very melodramatic and sad. And
Yep. And then we hear author man come home.
yeah, the taxi pulls in, and then he kind of is like, what the fuck? He sees all the lights in his house on.
He comes in and he goes upstairs. He grabs a thingy. I know there's a right word for it. It's a stick thingy. I call it a thingy. And then he goes into the room.
An
Like
iron poker.
Yeah,
Fire poker? I don't remember what it was.
It's a thingy.
I like
and he
thingy
goes
as a
into the
descriptor.
room, and Alyssa sees him, and her eyes bolt open. He's like, "How did you get in here?" She apologizes. He puts the thingy down.
James is hiding under the bed.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He
Yeah.
slid underneath the bed.
And he kind of starts off super sincere. She looks super terrified. He asked if she's alone. She says yes.
He slowly closes
And then the music
door.
gets creepy. He's like, "You made a mess downstairs," and sits down. He then grabs her wrist really firm. She starts to cry.
Because
looks
he's
super
trying to pull it over for him to
He is touching.
rub.
And he asked if she's a virgin, and she says no, but super shyly. You can see in her face she's freaking out. She's about to cry.
Yeah.
And he forces her down.
Well, when he says no, he slaps her across the face.
And she's like, "Please don't do this."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Just let it happen," kind of weird shit.
he's like,
and
don't make
then-
this difficult or
Right.
something.
He gets on top of her, and then his neck explodes, and Alyssa is covered in
Well,
blood.
you see this.
Yeah.
You see James's
Yeah.
arm kind of just.
But the way I
Like, he's-
perceived
he-
it,
like,
I
he's
saw the
pinning her
neck
down,
explode
like-
before I realized the knife had kicked in,
Because
right?
it's really quick. It's really smooth. It's
So,
just kind of
like,
like knife in neck.
and so it's like this explosion, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit.
Like,
Like you
it's
see
all
it
over her.
happening, but it takes a second to register. And then,
But you did, like, you expected it to happen, right? Because the whole time they're cutting back and forth
of course.
between
Like,
James
you knew
under
it
the
was
bed
gonna
and this
happen.
guy.
You
Yeah, of
knew it
course.
was gonna happen.
And I do want to say, because up until this point, like, up until they kind of found this place, I had been wondering, like, is he actually going to end up killing someone?
Yeah.
Is it gonna, is it gonna come
It's
to that
never
kind of
gonna.
conflict? Is it gonna be this soon? Is that?
But like in this sense, like he wasn't doing it to be like a psychopath or like
No,
to
no,
be a
no.
killer. He was doing it to be like protecting her, you
exactly.
know, and like
he barely even thought about it. It was just like, this needs to happen now. Bam.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Alyssa just kind of like looks at him all shocked and everything. Then they
And like
both
the
kinda-
guy
the
like
guy,
stands
like,
up and he's
stumbles
kind of like,
around.
and then he just
And
collapses.
you can clearly see in his eyes, like, but his last thought is, who the fuck is this guy?
yeah.
Right? Like, all of a sudden, someone from behind him stabbed him. He turns around as he's dying.
and
to
not
save his
just
kid,
stabs
like-
him like right in the jugular.
Yeah.
or one
Yeah,
of
like
those-
right in the neck, and he's
But,
like gushing blood
That's
all
the
over
one
her.
that like will pump out within like a minute. You're dead. So all of the blood is out in like a minute, and basically, the best part I think of the entire episode though is what happens at the very end of this. He goes, "Are you a virgin?" And she goes, "Yes,
yes,
yes." He goes, "Me too." No fucking shit or some crap like that. She goes, "No," and then James is just like they're just like staring, and it just like ends.
No, hang on. It's important that the blood is pooling in the shape of a heart
Oh, I didn't
around
notice
the guy's
that.
head.
Oh really?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sydney.
Yeah. It's really cute. As they're staring down at him, both totally shell-shocked. Like, are you a virgin? Yes. Are you? Yes. No fucking
But
shit.
it was just the
And-
fact that this is like I think the true moment of pure like if you're a person who's ever been called you're oblivious before, which was a younger me. And this is a little Holden tangent here. So if people call you oblivious, I want you to pay attention to that scene and the complete unawareness he displays when asking her this question at this exact moment really is the most oblivious thing I think I've ever seen a person do on TV.
But I think afterwards, like they're both in shock.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You
absolutely.
know, like they're both kind of just like, oh my god, like what just happened? Like
I-
you know, plus she was almost, you
doesn't
know,
make it less
she was attacked and
It's because I mean I think generally, the first time someone kills someone on a screen, it's portrayed like that, right? They're like, they'll say something kind of out of context.
Yeah.
I can't think of a specific example right now.
I
It's
mean,
driving me
you
nuts,
guys
but-
are probably totally correct, but it's still a great example of oblivious. Is
Yeah,
it
it's
not?
really
Yes,
cool.
yes.
It's really
That's
cool.
all. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, just not related to whether or not it makes sense that he'd be in shock and stuff. I get that part.
Okay.
So that's episode 3.
I liked it a lot.
yeah,
I'm definitely happy that the story changed in a way that caught me so off guard
Yeah.
that I really wasn't expecting. But while really overplaying done to death tropes the whole way through it in a really cool and impressive way. I don't know if it's the style of shooting, the blunt nature of the show, or the fact that it's teenagers, but everything about it is fucking amazing.
yeah.
There's barely any soundtrack.
It's also because
right?
that I think it's British too.
Oh, something worth noting is while they're having the moment of sadness and he's like up against the door reading the book and stuff, if you listen to the song playing, it's also really like negative and
Yeah.
about a breakup and it's whatever. So just to show excellent use of music still.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Anyway,
It's a good show. We're gonna go watch episode 4 right now.
yeah, we already watched it. Do you have anything more, Bonnie?
I mean, I like the show. I think it has like that kind of like dry, dark British kind of humor where it's, you know, you're kind of like seeing it and you're laughing. And even though like they're kind of just like in the middle of something that's so like terrible. And then they make like these stupid little comments. And then you're just kind of like,
Because you still get the sense that it's kind of just life, right? It's
Yeah.
just like they're teenagers. This is life. They're making mistakes. They're fucking huge mistakes.
Yeah.
But,
Mistakes.
yeah,
yeah,
Gotta get
I like
robbed,
it.
Kill somebody, self-defense shit, you know. Anyway.
into it.
So let us know in the comments then what you think about this one. Also let us know if you want us to finish this, if you want us to go past 4, because if nobody says go past 4, we finna stop and find something new. So
It's gonna be
let
a
us
new
know what
show.
you want us to do next.
Yeah, and make some suggestions as to like what shows you want us to review too.
11
Yeah.
seasons of MASH.
Yeah, that's not happening. On that note, have a great week, and we'll see you when the next episode of this comes out.